Julian Nagelsmann's tactical revolution brought much-needed fresh air in Germany's national team after they got eliminated in the quarter-finals at the Euro 2016, round of 16 at the Euro 2020, and failed to progress to the group stage in the two World Cups since. But with the new and improved Mannschaft, can the host go all the way on their home soil? Sure, why not? But there are some things that need to be considered. Germany's performance has declined since their World Cup win in 2014, affecting the national team's morale and inspiration. However, their recent matches show signs of a turnaround. The impressive 2-0 win away against France, though a friendly, was significant, and the reaction from Nagelsmann and the players highlighted the importance of this victory as they sought answers and solidified their starting 11 and structure ahead of the Euros. Reflecting on these two games, Germany seems to have found the solutions they needed. It's important to note that Germany is hosting the Euros, which adds a layer of responsibility. Unlike smaller nations where hosting is a matter of pride, Germany's reputation as excellent event organizers, seen in the 2006 World Cup and the 1974 World Cup win, comes with a great responsibility of performing well. Recently, the national team's poor performance had been an embarrassment, leading to Hansi Flick's dismissal and the establishment of an advisory board to address the crisis. Julian Nagelsmann, who likely did not envision becoming a national coach so soon, took on the role amid poor results, and he declared that the time for experimentation was over, indicating that the current team is the one they will rely on. In the matches against France and the Netherlands, he made few changes but showed a clear strategy. What stands out about Nagelsmann's approach is his blend of star players with hard-working team members. Seeing players like Rüdiger and Andrich alongside talents like Florian Wirtz and Jamal Musiala shows that Nagelsmann's team is balanced and ready to compete effectively at the Euros. But Nagelsmann has changed Germany for the better, and there is one major thing that might push Germany over the line and bring the title. Nagelsmann, now 36, was once the prodigy of German football, securing his first senior Bundesliga role at just 28 and later managing both RB Leipzig and Bayern Munich. Bayern hired him at a significant cost and dismissed him a year ago at an even higher cost, citing concerns about his perceived arrogance and immaturity despite his evident brilliance. Whether these traits are true or not, the perception exists, and Nagelsmann is aware of it. In September, he took on the Germany job as an interim coach until after the Euros. Any aspirations he had to influence the team through tactics, playing styles, and philosophy seemed to dissipate with defeats back in November. This likely stemmed from his realization that a national team coach doesn't have enough time to implement substantial changes given the limited training sessions with the squad every few months. His approach reflects this understanding, not only in his choice of the standard 4-2-3-1 formation, but also in recalling 34-year-old Toni Kroos, who had retired from international play 3 years earlier. Kroos lined up alongside captain Ilkay Gündogan, 33, forming a central axis rich in experience and technical skill, but lacking in pace and intensity. To balance this, Nagelsmann enlisted Robert Andrich, who often resembles, and plays like, a bouncer at a warehouse rave. The 29-year-old made his debut in March in a 2-0 victory over France, handling the gritty, labor-intensive tasks for Gündogan and Kroos. This setup is quite uncharacteristic of Nagelsmann, and it's hard to imagine him choosing it at the club level. But that's the nature of international football, where choices are limited. In this arena, being a dogmatic, stubborn visionary is often a mistake. It's more effective to be a pragmatic man-manager, especially when your tenure is expected to be short. That doesn't mean that Nagelsmann hasn't been assertive. He made significant changes after his initial squad by dropping 11 of those 27 players for the more recent matches, where they beat France and the Netherlands. He also showed no hesitation in using the same starting 11 for both games, an unusual move since most national team coaches prefer to rotate their lineups to evaluate their options and avoid conflicts with clubs that want their players to stay fresh. This decision is particularly notable given the inclusion of debutants like Andrich and Mittelstadt. Critics often label Nagelsmann as entitled and spoiled due to his experience with resource-rich clubs, but his willingness to consider lesser-known players indicates a readiness to explore beyond the usual big names. Despite Bayer Leverkusen's success in the Bundesliga, Andrich is not a regular starter, as he has started in only 17 games, substituted in 10. Similarly, Mittelstadt, playing for Stuttgart, has started fewer than 2/3 of their games and was relegated last year with Hertha Berlin. Nagelsmann's assertiveness is pragmatic and adaptable. His tactics are straightforward. emphasize possession rather than a complex press, leveraging the skills of Kroos, Gündogan, and Joshua Kimmich in midfield. He positions wingers Florian Wirtz and Jamal Musiala more centrally, aligning with their natural tendencies as dribblers and their proficiency in delivering through balls to the forward. Germany may be stuck with a suboptimal blend of young players like Wirtz and Musiala, older, more experienced ones like Kroos, Gündogan, and Manuel Neuer when he returns, and unsung ones like Andrich and Mittelstadt, but they're ready to enjoy the ride. And if they stay as blasé as they have been and treat a Euro run as gravy, they may just get their wish and float weightlessly deep into the competition and eventually come home to their rightful place in the game's pecking order. Nagelsmann has also benefited from the success of clubs like Stuttgart and Leverkusen, which allows him to draw from a wider pool of informed players, reducing Germany's dependency on Bayern Munich. Bayern's recent struggles in international competition have shifted the focus to other teams. This broader base is reflected in the current squad, with players from various successful clubs. Thomas Müller's inclusion highlights Nagelsmann's strategy of combining experience with youth. Müller, with his intelligence and understanding of his role both on and off the pitch, will be crucial. Leroy Sané, despite his suspension for the recent games, is expected to play a vital role due to his match-winning capabilities. The selection of the striker position remains a topic of debate. Kai Havertz has been playing in this role, but there are other options, like Niklas Füllkrug, who scored the winning goal against the Netherlands. This shows Nagelsmann's flexibility and willingness to adapt based on performance. The positive atmosphere around the German team, fueled by recent successes, is crucial. The head of the Euros 2024, a friend of mine, is undoubtedly pleased with this momentum, as a successful German team is key to a successful tournament. As we approach the Euros, Nagelsmann's focus will be on maintaining team chemistry and ensuring that the players understand their roles. This is vital for a tournament where the team will be together for an extended period. The mix of experienced players like Müller and hungry newcomers like Andrich and Tah will be essential. Recent discussions, such as the podcast with Felix and Toni Kroos, highlight the importance of integrating players like Sané, who can still contribute significantly despite earlier criticisms. Nagelsmann likely took on the Germany job much earlier than he had anticipated, possibly 30 years ahead of schedule. Externally, there was a perception that an older, more experienced coach was needed for the national team. How crucial is it for him to succeed at the Euros? In an interview, he mentioned that if he secured a club job before the Euros, he would announce it beforehand. Currently, several top clubs, including Barcelona, Liverpool, Manchester United, and Bayern Munich, are seeking new coaches, which makes his future particularly interesting. Success at the Euros might tempt Nagelsmann to explore other opportunities. However, it's likely that the German Football Association will try to extend his contract for a few more years. If he does well with the national team, the prospect of the 2026 World Cup in the USA, Mexico, and Canada could be very appealing. On the other hand, as a young coach, he might miss the day-to-day involvement in club football. For instance, after finishing his stint with Norway, he might find the gap until the Nations League in September quite isolating. There's a chance that Nagelsmann might extend his contract with the national team for another 2 years. Jurgen Klopp has expressed a desire to take a year off, making him available only after 2025, which leaves room for Nagelsmann to continue with Germany. Recently, there has been a positive shift around the German national team, with young talent and a fresh approach, including the decision to wear pink shirts at the Euros. This new energy and positive momentum are promising signs for Nagelsmann and the team. Do you think Germany can win the Euros? Let us know down in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next one.